What's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be showcasing my level 72 Migraine Zane build designed to deal maximum damage for the least ammo spent. It's a one-shot build that'll obliterate pretty much everything with just a single tap of the trigger, and can take out bosses with a single shot from weapons you'd never even think was possible. I'll be letting you know what skills you'll want to spec into, what supporting gear you'll need, and which weapons you should be running for that ultimate one-shot potential, as well as let you know where you can find everything you'll need. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a like, and if you want to, you can always subscribe, and let's crack into it. So as mentioned in the intro, this is a one-shot build crafted to deal the most damage possible each time you pull that trigger. To do that, we'll be taking advantage of violent momentum, which grants Zane ever increasing gun damage the faster he moves. That means, like Sonic, we're gonna go fast, and that does come with its own challenges, but the payoffs are definitely worth it. We'll be using the cannon to proc our kill skills and anointments, and the barrier will provide us with more single shot damage. Because of that heavy focus on single shot damage, this is a fantastic bossing build, but swap out some gear and you'll be mobbing like normal. How is that possible? Well, let's find out with the skill trees. The purple tree is where we start off, and we grab the full stock of Deja Vu, which is great while mobbing, granting us a high chance to return 1 ammo on every critical kill. We then grab Commitment for that gun damage and cooldown rate boost, as well as Headman's Hands for increased critical hit damage. Fugitive allows us to sprint and shoot at the same time, which works wonders with violent momentum. The Art of War increases our single shot damage by up to 150%, perfect for one-shotting tough opponents. Of course, we grab Eraser for that crazy damage when combined with weapons like the Complex Root. Sheer Will grants us increased action skill cooldown rate, perfect for stacking Art of War. And we round off the tree with our man Flint for that extra damage while aiming down sights. Onto the blue tree, and we start with the classic pairing of Violent Speed and Violent Momentum. One increases our movement speed and the other our gun damage based on how fast we're moving. We also pick up Cold Bore on the way, which is another to help with those power-packed shots, granting us a massive chunk of cryo damage for the first shot after changing weapons, while also increasing our weapon swap speed. Next, we grab Salvation for some lifesteal, and Seeing Red allows us to proc our kill skills through our cannon while also making them slightly better. We want the full stack of Playing Dirty to up our projectile count for that maximum one-shot potential. I put 1 in Violent Violence because it looked a little lonely, and we round off the tree with Good Misfortune, which extends the time of our action skills, and finally Death Follows Close, which not only extends the time of our kill skills, but like Seeing Red makes them even better. Onto the orange tree, and we're here for some extra damage. We grab Synchronicity, which gives us exactly that. This one boosts our mag size, which is nice while mobbing. And we also grab Donnybrook for that health regen and more gun damage, and end with Duct Tape Mod, which saves us from ourselves. As with many Zane builds, green tree is left untouched, but we will be running the barrier, which not only makes our bullets look shiny, but also makes them stronger. We have arrived at the gear, where every piece slots together perfectly to create an incredibly damaging build, and you can find a save file of the setup linked in the description. The first piece of the ultimate damage puzzle is the Toboggan, an artifact that belongs to Arms Race and has an increased chance to drop from these chests. When you slide, it not only doubles your speed but also covers you in a protective shield that will be consumed the next time you shoot, and grant that shot an extra 100% damage. Those two things combine perfectly, almost as if it was made for Zane, and help you to deal mountains of damage. It's a must-have in this build, helping you reach incredible damage heights, and getting one with an area of effect damage passive will make it that much better. If you're unable to obtain the Toboggan, then a Snowdrift artifact is the next best thing, obtained as a prefix on any base game artifact. It won't grant you the extra amp damage, but will boost your movement speed while sliding, which is often all you'll need. For class mods, the #1 pick has to be the Anti-Freeze, which has an increased chance to drop from the final boss of the Trial of Discipline, but only on Mayhem 4 or above. You can start it around here in the Meridian outskirts, but it can also be dropped from the bosses of the melee one takedown. The antifreeze is Zane's one-shotting comb, boosting your gun damage whenever you're sliding on your knees or testing if you have wings. While sliding or airborne, you'll gain a hefty boost in damage while also taking less of it. It can spawn with skills in Violent Speed, Violent Momentum or Supersonic Man, and 5 in Violent Momentum is the best. Another great class mod for this build and a couple of its weapons is the Hustler, dropping from Loco Mombius around here in Sapphire's Run as part of the Psycho Craig DLC. It grants a stacking bonus to critical hits, enabling non-crits to count as crits and boosting their damage by 125%, 25% per stack. It's best used on weapons like the Complex Root, but others can make great use of it too. Onto shields now, and you'll want to grab yourself an Infernal Wish, an amazing shield found in Arms Race with an increased chance to drop from this chest. While it has some capacity, a projectile will be added to each of your shots, literally doubling your damage as long as you're using single pelleted weapons. 90% of the time that's what we'll be using and allows us to hit some crazy damage numbers. It will burn you if you shoot too much though, but because we're not, that isn't a problem, and you'll want one with each elemental action, skill and anointment. When we are using multi-pelleted weapons, the Revolter is a great alternative, dropping from Sumo around here in Eschaton Row as part of the Director's Cut. Lastly, for shields, you can also think of equipping the Super Soldier, a Fallen Hero's Vault Card reward, which grants ammo regen, fire rate and movement speed boosts whenever it is full. Again, you'll want it with an action skill start anointment. For grenades, it honestly doesn't matter, we won't be using them, but we will be using their anointments, so make sure you have one for each of the action skill and elemental damage anointments. Now onto weapons, where the party gets loud and those bosses start dropping. We will be using powerful single pelleted weapons for the most part, to make use of the Infernal Wish and maximize our one-shot potential. Because we're not using the drone, we'll be using next to mag anointments on anything that doesn't deal splash damage, otherwise we'll be using an action skill and splash damage anointment. One thing that does deal splash damage is the Sawbar, a COV assault rifle that only comes in Incendiary and has an increased chance to drop from Borman Nates. You fight around here in the Meridian outskirts. Up until a while back, you wouldn't have thought this gun would fit in this build, but it does. It slots in perfectly. This is one gun that makes use of Eraser and the Hustler comb to deal monster damage. Its projectile pattern doesn't make it easy to squeeze out all of its power, but once you have it down, it'll leave you speechless. Another must-have weapon in this build is the Unseen Threat, a Jacob's assault rifle from Guns, Love and Tentacles that has an increased chance to drop from a march around here in Curse Haven. The Unseen Threat is an extremely powerful bolt-action sniper rifle with an even better unique effect. Shots not only land with force but spawn 3 homing projectiles which circle back in to deal even more damage. If the first shot didn't kill them, the ricocheting projectiles will, and thanks to the Infernal Wish, it doesn't just spawn 3 of them but 6. It's a fantastic sniper rifle that works incredibly well in this build, epitomizing the phrase, if it took more than one shot, then you weren't shooting properly. Next up in the sniper slot is the Complex Root, a melee 1 weapon dropping the fastest from Lanny Dixon around here in Asheville Peaks from the Bounty of Blood. Like the Sawbar, the Complex Root uses Eraser to the nth degree, spitting out explosive elemental energy that simply blows away the competition. After time you won't even know what happened as that big health bar stretched across the screen just disappears. It's an amazing gun that calculates damage a little differently than most and will have any boss fight quickly brought to an end. Last up for snipers, it's the Skullmasher, another Guns, Love and Tentacles weapon that has an increased chance to drop from Esther the Invincible. You fight around here in Skidmore Basin. It's part of the Weed/Slash questline. The Skullmasher is a shotgun sniper firing 5 damaging pellets that'll blow heads clean off. It does fire a lot quicker than other sniper rifles, and you might think one shot is selling it short, but there's no one to sell to when that boss is already dead. Like the Unseen Threat, you'll want the Dastardly prefix for extra critical hit damage. To launch is now the one-shot machines, and we start with the Kick Charger, an arms race exclusive that has an increased chance to drop from this chest. The Kick Charger is Gearbox's apology for the Iron Cannon nerf. They reskinned it, unnerfed it, and gave it even more damage. It comes with a charge mechanic that boosts its damage based on how long you hold the trigger, maxing out at 300%. It's the game's #1 when it comes to the damage per ammo ratio, causing some insane damage numbers that have to be seen to be believed. You can even avoid the charge time completely by firing while sliding, although as you can see, I felt more comfortable charging it up anyway. Only consuming one shot makes it great for mobbing, but bossing is its home, where it can take down the big boys without even breaking a sweat. Another launcher that slots perfectly into this build is the Major Kong, a COV weapon that can come in all elements including none, and can only be dropped from Psycho Reaver as part of the Psycho Craig DLC. After King Kong got shot off the Empire State Building, he was stripped of his status, joined the army, and eventually became this weapon. It fires a pair of capsules that wobble through the air and unleash devastating rockets on impact. It's that firing pattern that makes it hard to use in certain situations, but when the cards are in your favour, it will do some serious damage. Like the Kick Charger, holding down the trigger will have it grow in strength, with very few enemies able to withstand the full force it can muster. Lastly, for launchers, it's hard to look past the Backburner, an elemental launcher that drops the quickest from the Agonizer 9000 at the end of the Guts of Carnivora, but only if you're on Mayhem 6 or higher. The Backburner fires a single orb at the cost of 3 ammo per shot, which unleashes a nucleus of devastation wherever it impacts. From the impact point, arcing Merv grenades pound the ground, devouring whatever lay underneath them. Generally only one orb will be fired, but with the Infernal Wish and playing dirty, that can hit 3, upscaling the damage further. Other great weapons for this build include the Unkempt Herald, a torque pistol from Bounty of Blood that can come in all flavours and has an increased chance to drop from Cabot Dowd, who you fight around here in Bloodsun Canyon. The Unkempt Herald is a powerful explosive pistol, firing projectiles in a linear pattern that deal heavy damage. It comes jam-packed with power, holding the one-shot potential of a rocket launcher in a much smaller package. You can also chuck on something like the Plasma Coil that'll one-burst a wide range of targets, but there's plenty of other weapons you can try too. This build will maximise the one-shot potential of any gun you pair with it, and I'm sure you'll be surprised by the single-shot damage some guns can cause. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and can use my Migraine Zane build to destroy your opposition while barely raising a finger. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.